Hey, happy Fan Madness, everybody. Thanks for dropping in. We got a bonus hour of Happy Hour today. We got a bonus hour tomorrow, so we're going to do 2-hour shows. The madness has already happened. Here we have a win from High Point over Wisconsin. That's a 12 over a 5 seed. You got everything that you wanted from it. You have a 3-point shooter scoring his only 2-point field goal of the entire season in the final seconds of it to take the lead. You get an effort from Wisconsin to try to put up a shot at the end. The cameras pan to children crying. You have a coach that will not be at High Point much longer, who is a dapper gentleman. For some reason, High Point has houndstooth on their uniforms. It's all of the things that you want from March Madness, and we've only just begun. Sticking around from the firm, Patrick Harris is hanging out with us. What's happening, man?
I just can't get enough of this, Luke. I am so stoked to be here. I love college basketball. It's so funny. I probably watch, 30% of the games of the year, and that puts me in like the 98th percentile. And I still don't know anything. I've already lost a giant parlay. I've already lost money. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm going to go waste some more money at the cage here in a little bit.
Well, let me ask you this. I know nothing. I talked myself into filling out a bracket for the first time in a decade. We're going to be here.
In a decade?
Yeah, I can. Honestly, I cannot remember if it's even been within a decade.
Wow.
It's not something that
not
I get super pumped for. Well,
you hate college sports.
Well, no. That's true. That is true. That is a more recent discovery. But I don't have a school. I don't have a team. I don't have somebody I root for, right?
Sure.
So it makes it really difficult to hang out with it. And inevitably what happened is I fill out my first bracket in forever on the air yesterday. I get it like 80% done. I get home and I fill it out. Then I start thinking, what if this bracket actually works? What if my dumb ideas are actually good ideas? So what I did was I decided that, I better enter it in one of the billion-dollar pools.
Because you're going to win.
Well, you'd hate to have the perfect bracket and not enter it. So now I'm going to spend the next 3 months opting out of all the new emails that I'm going to get from all the sponsors of all the brackets that I filled out.
But dare I say, though, that whoever wins those billion-dollar, million-dollar brackets are probably people that don't watch college basketball.
Well, exactly. My odds are just as good. So I'll ask you, you watched 30% of the games. Did you have High Point winning that game?
Sure didn't.
I did.
Sure didn't.
There you go.
See, boom.
And I didn't do it with no logic. I every day when I'm prepping for the show, I am looking at all of the headlines, right? I just try to go through and grab everything I can. All of the feeds that I use, college basketball. Here's how to pick. Here's who's hurt. Here's what's going on. So I'm like, okay, I think I've got enough knowledge base. I tried to do it somewhat academically.
Okay.
I looked at what the experts did. I looked at, the percentages, the odds from the casinos, the percentage of brackets that had already been filled out. So I used some logic, and then I talked myself into thinking it's actually going to be a pretty good bracket. And here we are. I've got that. I lost the Southern Florida, Louisville one.
I lost that one too.
South Florida. So you don't know, but even the experts don't know, and that's what makes this silly thing so much fun. So I figured if we're going to be down here at the casino, let's go. So I'm already pumped, dude. The watching the crowd react here outside of Tom's Watch Bar, inside of Tom's Watch Bar, from the craps tables, from the blackjack tables. Somebody makes a big shot, everybody gets excited. And it's a great atmosphere. So if you're listening, come on down to A&A. We're going to be here for 2 days. All the shows tomorrow. So it'll start with Dirt and Sprague. We're going to be here at 6 in the morning. And
whoever's here then.
Hey, you better get down here and get excited because your bracket
Glory be with you.
Your bracket is going to be busted. and you're going to need to go and put some bets to, offset what you've already lost. So you might as well get here at 6, start, listening to, it'll be the only time you can hear the fan in the casino. So it makes a ton of sense to be here.
I don't know if you heard the beginning of our show on the firm, Luke, while you were working or driving up or anything. But I got here at like 8:30 this morning because I wanted to get some coffee,
Sure.
get a croissant, get my stuff set up and all that kind of thing. And I want to put in some bets before the first game at 9:15.
Makes sense.
Ohio State TCU is the first game.
Who did you have in that?
I had TCU in
Okay,
that.
same. Okay.
It is 0-0. Ohio State misses their first shot, and I heard 3 guys cheer.
Well,
They were like, yeah, we got him.
That's the other thing that happens. So not having a whole lot of knowledge base in this, right? You get to those 8-9 matchups, and I'm just picking against college football teams. I'm not even picking against
Without a
Ohio
doubt.
State. I'm just going, I hate their football team. Boom, TCU.
Without a doubt. 8, 9, and 7 10s are some of the most disastrous picks. Those are honestly how you win the tournament. Those
Okay.
are how
I can see that.
if you're in a pool with your office,
Yeah.
if you're in a pool with your friends or the bar or family, whatever it is, it's those little points that get you going. It's getting that bonus point for taking 9 over 8.
Yeah.
The 3 bonus points for taking 10 over 7. Because everybody else, like the hot trendy pick is Arkansas in the Elite 8 and Final 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have that. It's can you stack those little points throughout the tournament, because you're not the only one that has high point. I didn't have high point.
Sure. Yeah.
But
I didn't pick it based on nothing. I'm looking at, all right, where are the upsets that other people are picking? Listen, you got to cheat, but what you inevitably do, regardless of how much you know about college basketball, you talk yourself into these picks, and then you get behind them. And here I am standing waiting for the show to get started. I'm like, yeah, let's go, High Point. I don't even know their mascot. I didn't know they were purple until I got here today.
it might be a good thing that you don't have a school to root for.
Yeah.
Because I remember 2 years ago, Wazoo's in this tournament, and we get Iowa State.
Sure.
Okay? And it was a bloodbath. And I knew it was going to be a bloodbath. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, dude, Wazoo's going to get murdered.
Yeah.
And then the game starts, and it's 4-2 Wazoo, and you're like, we got a shot. We're doing this.
Well,
We're doing this. We're doing this.
I've had enough time spent watching sports that I can talk myself into rooting for a team by halftime. I will have usually decided who I want to win the game. My favorite times to watch sports are when I don't know who I want to win.
Agreed.
Until the final minutes, and it can go back and forth 6 times. The other day, I'm watching the Dominican Republic USA World
Great game.
Baseball Classic. Great game. And you and I had a conversation when I got out in the office, you got in the office, whatever it was. We started chatting about it. I was more upset with the bad call at the end of that game.
Perdomo.
Not because the DR lost, not because the USA went. I wanted to see that game keep going. It was
Just wanted more baseball.
I wanted Tatis to have an at-bat. I wanted what was next to come. If they get to the middle of that lineup and you have the bases loaded, what happens? If you go extra innings, what happens? I just wanted that game to keep going. I could have said the same thing about the final with Venezuela and the U.S. If that game went 13, it was funny because I went to search something the next day, and Google autofilled to what are the extra inning rules
In World Baseball Classic.
because that's how good that game was at the finish. So any of these games, even if I'm not rooting for a specific team, like Siena, I don't have them winning, but if they beat Duke, let's go. And what are they up, 43, 32 at half
I
or
believe
something
they
like
are
that?
up at 11. Dude, if they win this game, all your brackets can go.
Well, yes, but everybody's bracket, unless you
Everybody's.
went or are currently going to Siena, you do not have them winning that game. So,
I remember the year, I think it's 2006, 2007.
Yep.
One of those years. North Carolina, Tyler Hansbrough wins the Natty for North Carolina.
Yep.
Washington State was pretty good that year. We went to the Sweet 16. In fact, we lost to North Carolina in the Sweet 16.
Gotcha.
It was a really cool moment. They blew out everybody
Yeah.
that year on the way to their national championship. But Wazoo had the smallest margin of defeat. So we were like, by what is it? Transitive property.
Sure.
We're the runner-up for the Natty that year. And I remember we're filling out brackets, and we're all feeling pretty good. Most of us took Wazoo to the Sweet 16.
Okay.
We're in Pullman at the time. My buddy turns in his bracket. We put $20 on these brackets in college. That's a lot of money in college.
So the total pool.
Total pool was somewhere like $700.
You're a millionaire.
Yeah, you're a millionaire. You're throwing the biggest party on campus in Opal.
Yeah.
On the corner of campus and Opal you've ever seen.
Sure.
My buddy hands me his bracket, and he's got Wazoo winning the whole thing. And we're like, Eric, man, like, this isn't going to happen. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, what do you mean, man? It's not going to happen. Go Cougs, bro. We were like, all right, we're happy to take your money. And then it's halfway through the North Carolina game. Everybody has North Carolina beating Wazoo except for him. And we're like, oh, my God, we're going to lose money to this idiot.
Yeah, and that one win would have. They don't have to finish it out because everybody that has North Carolina. It is one of those moments in sports where if you connect yourself to it, there are just so many points that draw you in. Mm-hmm. And that is probably part of the reason that I've avoided it, because getting caught up in it is so silly. And then you get done and you realize, you look at it, I think it was last year, all 4 number 1 seeds are in it.
Right.
And you wrote in all these upsets, and your buddy who picked the Cougs to win and somebody that picked their school and does it, they're just kind of drawn in. You're like, oh, yeah, well, I guess it worked out that the best teams ended up winning the thing, which is usually how it goes. But those moments when the big teams fall just get you so pumped, and it's great. So, come down here and party with us. It is an event that we do every year. But since we've changed formats now, being on the FM, you got a daily show, I got a daily show. This is the first road trip for the fan happy hour. We're
first on the road,
playing a road game for the first time. So it'll be fun to see where it goes.
You got road game jitters?
I don't know. No jitters. Feeling pretty good about it. I feel pretty comfortable in this setting because, you have to remember how much time I spend in casinos. I lived in Vegas for 7 years.
Plus, we are the state of Washington. You, me, and Sucanic. We hold down the state.
Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, it's a shorter commute for me to come here. You're in Salmon Creek, so it's real easy for you.
Dude, mine, it took me 5 minutes to get to the freeway and then 11 minutes to get here.
It's a piece of cake. Yeah, I was here in 17 minutes. Pretty easy.
And you live on the east side, right?
I live very central.
Oh, very central.
I'm just north of the mall.
Okay.
So it's a piece of cake for me to get here. Hey, something I want to do, though, with you. Do you have a couple minutes to hang out?
Sure, why not?
You're here for, what's your purpose of being here? You just said, you got mind if I hang out? Absolutely.
Dude, I'm just here. I'm like kind of a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
This is one of those moments, as kind of maybe stupid and silly as this sounds. Like, obviously you want to progress your career and your brand, etc., and do a daily show full time.
Sure.
I really just wanted to do shows live from A during March Madness. That's really all I ever wanted.
Perfect.
So it's like, this is on the book. If Dusty goes, man, it's a good run. Adios. See you later. I'll be like, thank you for coming, and I had a great time.
So since you're here, one of the headlines that popped up today that I want to get your thoughts on, this will be perfect. Rob Manfred isn't against the idea of moving the World Baseball Classic to a mid-season tournament. This was the most successful the WBC has ever been. Does it change the way we look at baseball moving forward? Hold on to that. We will do that.
I saw that headline and I just went.
Well, hold your thoughts. I want to get them. We will do that next. You're listening to a bonus hour of Happy Hour live from A just outside Tom's Watch Bar. This is Happy Hour on 105.1 The Fan. Welcome back into the bonus hour of Happy Hour. The Ducks ladies basketball team will be playing in the women's tournament. So the Duck Insider is going to be off for today and tomorrow. That means you just get more of us live from A-Lene, which will be great. So we got a 2-hour show today, 2-hour show tomorrow. Patrick Harris from the firm of Harris and Meringue is a little worried that he's going to start drinking too fast when his show finishes. So he's asked me to hold him hostage for at least half an hour.
Yep.
So he doesn't get the head start on everybody that he could.
Yep.
So you're going to hang out with me for one more segment. I see that you did not make it.
No, I didn't make it.
We got a big, what is that, a 24-ounce Coors Light in front of you, the Silver Bullet.
This is the adult size. The mountains are blue.
Yeah.
No,
I believe that is Coug size. Is that not Coug size?
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. It's definitely a marathon and not a sprint. I know I love to laugh and joke, and I know the primetime boys do the same thing. We like to laugh about our alcoholism and ha ha ha. No, I mean honestly, I'm probably gonna have this, eat some food, and then I'm gonna see if I can't get in my hotel. I might sneak an hour nap in.
You know what?
It's a long night
It'd be
ahead.
irresponsible not to, because we've got a little lull, right? It's when these games all wrap. You got the next set of games starting. You don't need to watch the first half of these games. I mean, this video board is kind of, messing with my brain already, because I've got the same game on two screens, but one's on a delay and one's not. So even when I look up, I don't exactly know what I'm looking at.
Oh,
so
I
give your
can't
brain
handle
a rest.
that. Oh, I can't handle that.
Yeah.
That weirds me out. If you're like at a bar and there's two TVs and they're the same thing and one's on a delay, oh god.
Yeah, we've got it right here, and then you've got the big screen now has Siena up 47-38 on Duke. So if you have not stopped working for the day and you're waiting for Duke to just roll through the first round, not happening, kids.
I did not have John Shire yelling and actually coaching with 16 minutes to go in the second half against Siena. They just cut to John Shire, and he's like, guys, get back, move. He's like waving his arms around. I didn't have that on my bingo sheet, but here we are.
Yeah, that is one of the things that drives me absolutely insane about college basketball. Why do they play halves? Do we have any idea why they've decided to go half? Women's college basketball plays quarters.
Sure.
Every other basketball league, including my daughter's 8- and 9-year-old team, plays quarters. Yet here we are, college basketball, 16 minutes left in the second half of the game.
That is a really great point. Dare I say, though, I would rather 2 halves of college than 4 quarters of NBA time-wise. If the NBA was 2 halves, I'd be all over that, dude. I'd be all over that.
Okay. Well,
I don't need a full 40 minutes of the NBA. I don't.
Not with tanking in
No.
full force.
God, no.
All right,
God,
well,
no.
We're going to talk tanking a little bit later in the show when we get rid of you and bring Casey on into the conversation. But right now, I do want to get your opinion on this WBC thing. So I admitted, and you and I think had the conversation about this off the air, but I had never really gotten into the World Baseball Classic for whatever reason.
And I've been way into it.
Totally. Couple sporting events that I have kept at an arm's length. And I've got young kids, and I do coaching, and I've got a pretty busy schedule. So the other night, sitting there watching the final, my girls are 9 years old, twins, and we were watching the final. They had so many questions about baseball. It was awesome. I take them to a Twins game every year when the Minnesota Twins come to the play the Mariners at T-Mobile. I take them to the game. We've had more and more fun. They're getting more and more interested in baseball. I'd watched enough of the WBC that they were kind of invested in oh, tell me what's going on. And it was probably one of my favorite things about the final because the mom's out of town, so we're just sitting there watching it together. Totally awesome. And they're like, this is the USA. They're like, why are you happy that Venezuela won? And I'm like, I know these guys. And they're like, I know that guy. He played for the Mariners. So you have Eugenio get the thing, and the whole thing was fantastic.
Zardo pitched really well in that game, too.
Zardo was really good,
High
except for one at bat in the postseason, too.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into that. So Rob Manfred said that he is okay with the idea of the World Baseball Classic being a mid-season tournament. So for me, you can't use the arms like you would in a regular game. There's a 95-pitch limit because it's essentially a preseason tournament. You don't want to wear out any of your starters. You don't want the teams having a guy that's now fatigued after pitching all of this. Tarek Skubal pitched one game, went back to Tigers camp, wasn't even there for the final when USA fails to.
Yeah, he was. Skubal was there.
Oh, was he really?
He just didn't throw. But he was there.
Okay.
He took his.
I thought he's back in Tigers. Okay,
he went to the Tigers and then he went back.
Gotcha. Okay. So he did go back to
snap.
either way. So he went as a spectator to watch the final. But he wasn't playing, and he wasn't available to pitch.
Correct.
Not on the roster. So you've got all that. Good or bad, just initial thought of if it moves to a midseason tournament.
I mean, I think it's fantastic. To use a couple examples, Danny on our show always brings up the Four Nations and how great that was in hockey, and that was a midseason thing.
Or take the Olympic tournament that we just had.
The Olympics worked really, really well. Also, you know me, I love my footy, my soccer.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
In Europe and even in America, too, there are mid-season tournaments. Take the English League, for example. They have the League Cup, also known as the Carabao Cup. That's the sponsor for it. And then they have the FA Cup. Those are two very long-standing tournaments because there's no playoffs in those leagues. So they do tournaments mid-season that give you an extra kind of trophy that isn't as big as winning the league. I think it works super well in Major League Baseball.
So, but real quick, I want to kind of just check the difference between that, because those are club tournaments in the middle.
Yes,
like the NBA Cup,
like the NBA Cup,
where you're staying with the same team and playing this. Now, this would be a lot more like the Four Nations, where you leave the team that pays your salary, and now you go and play for a national team. And that's where it gets a little dicey, because we didn't see Jose Altuve, we didn't see Carlos Correa, because they couldn't get the proper insurance to play in the WBC. Yeah, there's among
Javi
others.
Baez. Yeah.
Do you want to do the whole list? I know that you could recite it. I'm just pointing out some guys that are off the top of my head. I think our listeners get the point, but do the whole list if you want to.
I'm good.
Okay. So now you're in the middle of a pennant chase. Mm-hmm. You have a guy that's in the middle of a Cy Young chase. You have all of these different things. Baseball is not like hockey, where you're going to go and basically play the same style of play regardless of what team you're on. You're going to be in different roles, going to this different team. You're going to be hitting in different spots. Certainly the arms are the biggest concern, I think, with this tournament for baseball.
Definitely.
How does that factor in?
Well, it's a conversation that's being had in multiple leagues. Steve Kerr said something about this the other night with the NBA. And as much as I don't want to do it because I don't love the idea of wrecking the history books, if you really want to do this, now we have seen that players from other countries want to get into this. And if Americans don't want to get into it, then that's their problem.
Yeah.
You're going to have to cut the season down. And which is why I don't think you do it every year. If you do the World Baseball Classic every 3 years, and do it mid-season, I don't think baseball can take 3 weeks off. You don't want to be playing the World Series in New York City in late November. But let me ask you this, though. Does it need to be a 3-week tournament? Do you need
all the qualifiers?
Is
it 16 teams? 16, because you have 4 pools. Do you need 16? Do you need pool play? Can you do a preseason qualifying and then have pool play done early? Wouldn't that be the way to do it?
That would be a great way to do it.
Then you take a week off, because the Olympics are going to be this way, and I don't know what they're going to do for the 2028 Olympics.
I don't think they're going to let major leaguers play. I don't think they're going to.
Just
my opinion, I haven't heard anything. I don't think they're going to let major league players. That would make sense. The only other thing that would be kind of I don't know, like a miss on the situation is you would have to hold the tournament every time in America. I like those pool play games in Japan. I liked seeing the Puerto Rican kid hit one in San Jose. That's really cool. And missing out on that would suck, but I don't think in the middle of the season you can send people to Puerto Rico, Mexico City, or Tokyo.
How long is the break right now for the All-Star break? It's 5 days?
It's about a week. Yeah, a little less than a week. Last game is Sunday. And then I think Monday is like the stupid celebrity All-Star.
And then
Tuesday's Home Run Derby.
Oh, no. Isn't the Home Run Derby before the
Home Run Derby's on Monday. Tuesday's the All-Star game. Wednesday's nothing.
Wednesday's the day off,
And then Thursday back at it.
Yeah. So but it all starts on Saturday.
But I also think you could find ways that you could give another day here and there and tighten things.
But you could drop that. Totally. And then you go 2 weeks. I don't know.
Would you drop the All-Star game every 3 weeks to have the World Baseball Classic?
Every 3 years?
Is that not the All-Star game?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That would be another way to find some time and make it available. You move the start of the season up instead of moving the World Series back, especially if you're playing in a cold weather city. Going to Thanksgiving with the World Series makes no sense to me at all.
At the end of the day, Luke, you and I are huge baseball fans, and baseball is in such a great place right now. name recognition, superstars everywhere. Sure, the Dodgers are loaded, but they went to Game 7 extra innings in a really classic World Series matchup. World Baseball Classic, if they can get past this potential work stoppage, I'm for anything to keep this ball rolling. And the World Baseball Classic was such a smash success that as long as we don't oversaturate it, we should be in a good spot to keep it rolling forward. Because like you said, people that don't watch baseball started watching. I don't watch hockey. I watched every Four Nations game. People don't watch soccer. They watch the World Cup, men's and women's. And then that gets you to a Thorns game. That gets you to root for Nottingham Forest or whatever you want to do. And you got to keep that thing rolling.
Since you're a soccer guy, and I know that there's a lot of different tournaments and there's a lot of, extra stuff with soccer, how much of a time commitment is for the players to do the World Cup every 4 years? Because this is something that feels a bit antiquated to me as well. Because you look at the Olympics, you wait every 4 years, and it makes it a bigger moment. But the Olympics is 1,000 people playing 100 different sports, and all crammed into a place.
Very few of them are professional.
100%. That feels like something that should be that way. But these professional soccer players playing in the World Cup, they're playing in national tournaments, and there's a world championship, there's whatever. Why don't we just call it the World Cup every year? That's the granddaddy. And the same thing with the World Baseball Classic. They decided to go every 3 years for whatever reason instead of 4 to make it weird. But the Four Nations is going to happen, I guess, in non-Olympic years.
Okay.
Is kind of the plan,
so
I guess.
3 years, year off, 3 years, year off.
Yeah. So why? Why do we have to wait? I get that when travel around the world was difficult, getting everybody in the world to Brazil to play a tournament was tough in the 1930s or whenever.
It did start in World War II, yes. Uruguay won the first 2 World Cups.
There you go.
I believe in the second World Cup, America took third.
Hey, how about that?
I mean, there was 4 teams.
USA.
There was like 4 teams.
But either way. So
I'm not quite sure why they do every 4 years, but what soccer has figured out, and you're about to see this in the MLS, is about to switch from their current schedule right now to mimic what Europe does and what most of the world does, is the World Place takes place in the off season. It just happens to be the summer.
Yeah.
So when you're in a World Cup year, it's just a long year. And it's every 4 years, so it's not every but
are there not other tournaments? There are other tournaments in between, right?
There are the Euros in between, and you have qualification the year before the World Cup. So kind of like baseball, especially when you look at the island boys, as I like to talk about, or people in Venezuela and Mexico, etc. Those guys play baseball 365.
Yeah.
And so most of these soccer players, if you're on the highest level, if you're Harry Kane, the captain of England, you play a full year at Bayern Munich, you've got a league tournament you got to go in. You've got Champions League, the European tournament.
Just to make sure
England qualifiers.
The captain of the English team does not play in the English Premier League.
Not anymore. No, he plays in the German league now. But he's got to play for all those, the qualifiers for Team England. Yeah. The Euros are so the World Cup is every 4 years, as are the Euros.
Yeah.
The Euros take place the second year in the middle of the World Cup break. So every 2 years, he's got a giant tournament that he's playing in. And the in-between years, he's either qualifying for Euros or qualifying for the World Cup. So I think they are used to playing soccer 365.
So if the goal then is to globalize a sport, the more exposure you get, like we just had, seems to make sense. So
NFL wants to go 19 games and play them in Australia and Mexico City and England and Germany.
I mean, we're sitting in a casino. Should we find somebody from A&A and see if they want more NFL games? Should we see if that helps the greater economy?
I'll take the Chiefs over the Broncos with a 4.5-point spread in Nepal next week. Yeah, you got it, man.
At altitude. It's going to be intense.
Denver could get dicey there.
You think Mile High is tough.
It's like a home game for the Broncos.
Wait till you're playing at Everest Base Camp. We'll see how that goes. It's tightened up between Duke and Siena, but the 16 seed still has the lead. Let's throw it over. We're gonna continue. Casey and I will continue on. We got another 90 minutes of this silly little program. We're gonna talk about a way to solve the tanking in the NBA that I heard today that really, really intrigued me. But right now we'll do a little sports update. Casey, what do you got?
First on the Fan, Afro Man is back in the news after his 3-day trial in Ohio ruled in his favor. The trial was over a defamation lawsuit filed by the Adams County Sheriff deputies against Afro Man after his music videos used footage from a 2022 police raid of his home, alleging that Afro Man used their likeness without their permission and profited from their images. Have you seen any of this?
I did see the headline, and I was thinking, will anybody care about Afro Man? How long has it been that his big hit, what was it, Want to Get High, or what was it? I don't even remember.
Because I Got High.
Because I Got High. That's what it was. See, I was like, is this still relevant? And then you bring it up. I did not click on the headline, so I am not all caught up on it, my friend.
It's been 26 years since
26
that song
years.
released.
There you go. So 2000. Holy cow. You weren't even alive.
No, I was not.
So funny.
I highly recommend checking out the music videos. They are titled "Will You Help Repair My Door?" and "Lemon Pound Cake." It's a slight to the cops who broke down his door, and one cop with his weapon drawn even looked at a piece of lemon pound cake on his counter.
All I'm going to say is Patrick Harris got off the air 1 minute too early. If he knew Afro Man was going to be the next topic, he would have stuck around, that's for sure.
And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the bonus hour of Happy Hour. We are out at A. Lene right now, just outside of Tom's Watch Bar, taking in all the madness. Siena is up 53-49 on Duke. You got 12 minutes left in the 16-1 matchup. That'll be the biggest thing that we're keeping an eye on. If you want to come out and say hello, there are plenty of people hanging out here, and it is only going to get better. We've got 2 days of this. Happy Hour is going to be doing 2-hour shows both today and tomorrow. Our friends at Duck Insider will be following the Ducks women's team, so they will not have shows. Isaac and Suk will be after me. And tomorrow you're going to get the very early edition. If everybody wanted to come out at 6 a.m., Dirt and Sprague will be here as well. It's going to be a blast. And tomorrow, just even better than today, because everybody's back. Brackets will be broken, and we'll be throwing caution to the wind, so it should be an absolute riot. Love to have you come and join us. We want to get you guys caught up on the madness. So as we go, Casey, do you mind just jumping in with updates as we go on the madness? I'm trying to watch 17 screens right now.
I've got you.
You've got me. Before we do that, though, I want to thank our sponsors, of course, A. Window Nation, George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law, Cricket Wireless, and Video Only. We can't do things like this without our great sponsors. Casey, I know that you've been kind of getting some things ready. I know you got some audio clips that we'll kind of jump into a little bit later, but one of the things I promised you that I would not continue to do is try to fix the NBA. But here's the problem. Today, there are multiple things that jumped out to me that kind of threw me off. One of those things is the Cleveland Browns. They're just being the Cleveland Browns, and of course, they are absolutely ridiculous. They are proposing to the NFL that the NFL can move forward by letting teams trade draft picks as far as 5 years into the future. So right now, for anybody that doesn't know, the NFL is only allowed to trade draft picks up to 3 years ahead of time. And it got me wondering, how far can the NBA trade out? Because one of the things that really drives you bananas, right? The NBA is set that the draft is the most important thing that they have all year. You can see it just by watching games now. You've got tanking happening probably 1/3 of the league. They've just given up on their season. They're trying to lose as many games as they can so they can get the ping pong balls in their favor. And then what's going to happen is they're just going to trade out their picks for 2037, and you're not even going to know which years you have draft picks. Oh, we can't tank this year because we've given up our rights to our first-round pick, or we've got to swap with Chicago, or whatever it is. So as soon as I saw the Cleveland Browns being the Cleveland Browns, instead of getting mad at them, I found myself mad at the NBA and going, yeah, why would anybody want to trade that far ahead? You're inheriting all of these awful trades that the previous organization or previous regime at your organization made, and it's awful. So, Casey, are you with me on that the NBA is doing something wrong there?
I'm with you there.
Okay. So here's the other thing that I heard, and tell me how interested you are in this. Are you familiar at all with the I think it's the PWHL, the Professional Women's Hockey League? Do you know any of the ways that they operate their business?
No, I do not. Elaborate for me.
I will. Here's how they decide who gets the first overall pick. I don't know how many teams are in the league. I don't know how long they've been operating. I know they have a new expansion team in Seattle. That's about all that I know. The way that they do their draft order is once you're eliminated from playoff contention, you start gathering points. Hockey uses points if you go to overtime, if you get a win, if you get an overtime win. It's a little bit different, but you can do the same thing in the NBA with wins. So hear me out on this. Once you are eliminated from the playoffs, from that point until the end of the regular season, you have an opportunity to earn points, and whoever has the most points at the end of the season gets the first overall pick. So it gives an advantage to the worst team in the league. So let's use the NBA example. Let's look at it right now. You've got one team in the West that is eliminated from playoff contention, and I believe I don't have the standings up because I've let me get them for you. The Kings are the only team that are eliminated from the West. You've got 3 teams in the East that are eliminated from playoff contention. So depending on what order, Pacers, Wizards, Nets, whoever was eliminated first, every time you get a win, that would count towards you getting the highest draft pick. So if you're eliminated in January, obviously you have a lot more runway. The final team to be eliminated from the postseason would have the least amount of runway to collect points, so it wouldn't do you a whole lot of good to opt out late. And all the teams that are in it, you can run the rest of the regular season, and every win would matter to it. The team that is the worst would actually have the best advantage for it. What do we think of that?
I love this idea. Then you're getting competitive games down to the wire the entire way through.
You could come down to a scenario where you have a team that is fighting for playoff position. You keep the play in. You don't have to change anything else. What I like about the solution is it's elegant. It's already in practice elsewhere, and it makes perfect sense. Like, I heard this, and my head just went... How do you not have something like this? Forget the ping pong balls. Forget the percentages. Forget tanking. You could have a scenario where you get to the end of the NBA regular season and you have two games being played at the same time where you have a team that is at the bottom that could be playing one win, could get them the first overall pick, against a team that one win could get them out of the play-in and into the playoffs, and you could have another game that has similar odds and scenarios playing at the same time. You could do what they do in the NFL where you flex schedules so they play at the same time. You don't know what the results are. You could make every game in the NBA matter just like that. You don't have to change any of the odds. You don't have to change any of the ping pong balls. Now the games are what determines it, and I am all for it. I had to put it out there in the universe because the NBA is driving me absolutely insane right now to watch it and just watch teams be perfectly happy with losses. The Blazers, congratulations, you beat the Pacers. Do they care? Absolutely not. And the wild thing is they're in the position they are because of an injury, which is what happened to Golden State not that long ago, where they end up with the first overall pick because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, everybody's out. One injury to Tyrese Halliburton, you lose a couple guys in the offseason, and now you go from the NBA Finals where you had a realistic chance of winning a championship, if not for a torn Achilles, to being last in the league. They're going to get a draft pick. They're happy to tank because they know they're getting one of the best players in the NBA back, and they can add a draft pick.
Yeah, that completely changes around the outlook of your franchise. Indiana is that great example. But you also take a team like Brooklyn, where they're moving around a bunch of pieces, trying to develop guys and, see who they want to keep around. You get good basketball late in the year when, again, Brooklyn, do you want to watch many Brooklyn Nets games?
Well, but give me another scenario that is so simple to understand. The nice thing about having you in this conversation is you're not that bright. If you can understand it, I mean, come on. How easy is it? If two jamokes like you and I get this that quickly, seems like a no-brainer.
100%.
Fan text line 503-2GO-FAN, 503-864-6326. Let us know what you think of it. I mean, it is just one of those things where I know I've promised not to do it. But if professional women's hockey can come up with something that's that simple, that works whether you're expanding or not, no matter what Gilbert Arenas thinks of Seattle and whether or not you put a team there, whether LeBron wants to own the Vegas team or not, it seems like a really easy way to do it. It fits with what you've already got in place. You don't have to change a whole ton. Just make those games matter. And if you have teams that play for something, that's the whole point of sports. You can say whatever you want about the odds of a 16 seed winning in this tournament and how much of a long shot is it, but these guys are playing their hearts out right now, and college basketball's got some issues. Most of the teams that are here right now because of freshmen are already recruiting the next guy that's going to take them here. But at least everybody's playing the games all the way down to the end because you have an incentive for it. If you're playing in the MAC, if you're playing in the Sun Belt, if you're playing in the Horizon League, is anybody going to care about you all year? No, but if you win your tournament, you get into it and you get a shot at one of the big boys. And listen, are these guys that have a chance to win a couple games in the tournament, do they have a realistic chance of winning the whole thing? No, they don't. But it puts them in high-profile situations. For the coaching staff, it gives them an opportunity to go out and showcase for one of the big jobs that will inevitably be open. For these schools, they're putting more money in their pockets. They're getting more prestige. They're going to have a chance to do it. The NBA is one of those leagues, and I can't think of another one that's even close. At the end of the season matters to 40% of the teams, to 60% of the teams. You got to fix something. I'm sorry that I keep trying to fix it, everybody. I promised I'd stop, but it was too easy, and it was right there in front of me. So let's go ahead and do it. You with me, Casey?
I'm with you.
Fantastic. All right, well, the show's going to be a little funky today. I'm glad that Patrick stuck around for the first one. We've got some clips that we're going to kind of throw at you as we go, so we're not going to have one of those segments. But at 2:30, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do a quick recap. A lot of the early games will be wrapped up by then, so we'll get you sound, and we'll make comments on the games that have happened so far. We'll still do, in case you missed it, at some point around the start of the 2 o'clock hour. But it's going to be me and Casey kind of jumping around a little bit, and we'll kind of roll with it as we go. I did want to stay in the NFL for just a second longer, so we'll talk about some of the moves in the National Football League, and we'll do that next. You're listening to Bonus Hour of Happy Hour live from A. It's Happy Hour on 105.1, The Fan and the Fan Sports Network.
The
kids, welcome back to A. Lene, just outside of Tom's Watch Bar. You will have all of the fans live and local lineup out here at the casino watching college basketball for the next couple of days. We're doing bonus hours of the happy hour both today and tomorrow because the Ducks women's team will be in their tournament. The Ducks men's team nowhere to be seen, but that was kind of what happened this year with the Ducks. We don't need to get into that in detail. So you'll have a bonus hour today, bonus hour tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, Dirt and Sprague are going to be here bright and early. They're going to be tired. They're going to be watching college basketball all night. They'll probably be out here tonight hanging out, having some drinks. So if you want to hang out with them tonight, be sure to be responsible and hang out with them in the morning. They're going to need all the support that they can get. Of course, primetime with Isaac and Suk when we wrap this little show up at 3 o'clock. Casey, how's your bracket looking so far, my friend?
Got a few, lost a few.
Well, did you lose any Final Four teams, Elite 8, Sweet 16? That's where you kind of get in trouble with this tournament, right? You can't lose any of your big dogs too early.
Yeah, didn't lose any big dogs, but if Duke does lose to Siena, I might be in some trouble.
I'm good. I've got Kansas beating Duke. Right now, what's the update on that score? Siena 61, Duke 65 minutes left. Does that sound about current? Oh, no.
I have it tied at 61 apiece right now with 4 minutes and 27 seconds.
Now I've got Duke ahead. I've got so many screens, and I've got the ticker. I've got Duke now up 63-61, 3:59 left on the screen, but we just went to a Corona commercial, so we'll have to go without that. I wanted to get to a couple moves in the NFL before we get to your SportsCenter update, where I'm sure you'll hit all of the updates on scores so people can check their brackets. Not a ton of moves out there, but a couple worth noting. T.Y. Hilton is retiring. When was the last time T.Y. Hilton was on your radar, Casey? Because I don't remember him catching a pass since at least 2022, but he has officially announced his retirement at the age of 36.
I thought he retired when Philly Rivers retired the first time.
The first time. Yeah, so I always think it's funny when you go. So if you end up getting forced into retirement, is it worth going out and declaring that you've retired? At what point does it not become news? Because this is one that jumped into my feed, and I was like, I thought he was already gone.
Yeah, I didn't know he was still active, especially when they just made a bunch of offseason moves about their receivers.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if he was tied to a team. He did give a shout-out to Jim Irsay in his retirement speech, and his son is already playing college football. I feel like that's one of those things where it was nice. No, but T.Y. Hilton, once upon a time, led the NFL in receivings back in 2016, 1,400-plus yards. He was a great player, and it's funny how quick the league moves on because I don't think anybody noticed that he was gone, and we had kind of forgotten about him until this point. The NFL is one of those things that's amazing to look at, the way that we move on so quickly from players. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I am so intrigued by how differently teams approach free agency. So the two moves that of note that happened today, and I think I mentioned it yesterday, that Kenny Pickett going to Carolina, but Andy Dalton has officially been traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, so he will no longer be Bryce Young's backup and put him behind Jalen Hurts, who nobody knows if he's actually a good quarterback, but he's won a Super Bowl, so you've got Andy Dalton going in to be a veteran to a guy that's, I think, already a veteran. So that one seems a little bit odd. The other quarterback move today is Carson Wentz has been re-signed. So the Minnesota Vikings are very happily employing 3 former top 10 quarterbacks in their quarterback room. And I find it hard to believe that people have a lot of faith in that. So going out and making these free agent moves is interesting to me. And then looking at what Seattle's doing. So expecting to have compensatory picks back from from all 4 of these moves. So Kobe Bryant should fetch them a compensatory pick in next year's draft. The Kenneth Walker signing should get them a compensatory pick. Reek Woolen and who's the other one that I'm missing? My brain just stopped working. But having additional picks that are going to jump in there makes it really interesting. And Casey, you and I didn't get a ton of time to talk about this. Looking at the way that different teams in the league are going about free agency. with the Browns' idea of adding a couple more years to be able to trade first-round picks, is there a formula that you can think of that actually works, or is it just when the rest of the league zigs, you got to zag?
I don't know what Cleveland's trying to get out of this. Are they just trying to say that they want to be bad for the next 5 years?
Well, in the NFL, too, what really gets me is that you move on so quickly from your GM. You move on so quickly from head coaches. If it's not working, the NFL having that 3-year restriction on trading draft pick means if you come in and you get a job as a head coach or player personnel or GM or whatever it is, you're going to have a pretty short runway before you've got control of what the team is doing. I don't know why it just popped in my head, but Bua Mafe is the other guy that's going to get more picks. This year's draft's going to be kind of funky, and you're not going to have a whole ton of depth at a whole lot of positions. Next year's draft is supposed to be fantastic. Do you have any idea what the 2028, let alone the 2030 draft is going to look like? That's what makes it so bizarre to me, because you're looking at these guys. I mentioned Minnesota for that reason, right? You've got these guys that were all top 10 quarterbacks that were drafted. They're not even competing for the job. It's probably going to be Kyler Murray's, and you're just going to have the other guys laying in wait. And if J.J. McCarthy ends up being the best quarterback because the other ones fizzle out, you've got something. But I don't know how you look ahead and go, the draft is going to be great in 2020, pick your number. And figure it out. The NBA has done themselves such a disservice by having all of these picks lost, and teams that have stockpiled, like the Oklahoma City Thunder, like the San Antonio Spurs, have been able to turn their team around with or without a first overall pick. Victor Wembanyama's icing on the cake for the Spurs, but they've made a lot of really shrewd moves. It feels like that's what Utah is trying to do right now. I don't know why on earth the league would go for something that would let you reshape the league that far out when they've figured out parity.
I'm looking at the average career length for both NBA and NFL. NBA career length.
Can I guess?
Go for it.
The NBA career length is probably, 6 years?
Between 4.5 and 5 years.
Okay, I was just a little high. The NFL's got to be 2.5. It can't be much longer than that.
Less than 4 years.
Less than 4. Okay, yeah. So I mean, the window horizon for the NBA is off if that's the case. Now they have some rules in there where you can't trade back-to-back first-round picks and some other things. But with all of the pick swaps, every time I think about the Blazers have this weird pick swap, I still don't know how it works with Chicago that has impinged them from being able to make moves for the last 10 years, it feels like. It just drives me crazy because every time somebody has a conversation about it, I just throw my hands up and go, you have no idea what's going to happen next year, later this season. We're all speculating. Future speculation is one of the most difficult things to do in any arena. So when somebody tells me they know how it's going to pan out, no, you don't. In the NFL, having that short window, they got to shut this thing down. And not just because it's an idea from the Browns, but because it just seems like it's going to be bad for a sport that really does have it dialed in.
100%. I just think the volatility of NFL players is just a lot. It's a lot higher than NBA players. NBA players, you can have these 5-year careers. You'll get, I'd take Scoot Henderson as an example.
Yeah.
Scoot, again, first 2 years, we're not expecting him to be the star that he is, but now that we're starting to see pieces of it, we can expect the next 2 years to be growth steps in developing his game.
Well, the NBA, there's a size factor that plays into some of these injuries, and then you have these, lingering things that end up doing. A single shot can knock somebody out of their NFL career. It doesn't have to be something that lingers. You're healthy, then you're hurt, then you're done. So it is a little bit different. But the other component to this is just sheer roster size. I mean, the NFL has a 7-round draft. The NBA has a 2-round draft. The roster for an NBA team is 12, and you've got 70 if you count the practice squad for an NFL team. So it's very different. It's not apples and oranges. But yeah, I just look at the way that these two things line up, and the NFL personnel does not need to make a lot of changes. And like I said, if it's a suggestion from the Browns, I'm going to say that it's probably a bad idea. We're getting right down to the end of it. Duke has a 4-point lead over Siena. They're up 65-61. We're going to watch how this thing shakes out. Casey will have a SportsCenter update to start hour 2 of Happy Hour on 105.1 and the Fan Sports Network.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, March Madness is officially here. TCU started off the day by getting the first win, taking down 8-seed Ohio State 66-64. Then Nebraska took down Troy with a commanding 29-point victory. South Florida fell to 6-seed Louisville 83-79. As that game is all wrapped up, and we were on upset watch as High Point has officially taken down 5-seed Wisconsin. The 12-seed won 83-82. Right now, 16-seed Siena, they got out to a strong start, but the Duke Blue Devils have crawled their way back. Current score on that one is 67-63 as the game is under the minute mark. McNeese State will wrap up our morning slate of games as they face off against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt currently leading 63-57. And a quick NBA update for you as your Portland Trailblazers took down the Indiana Pacers on the road, 127-119. Donovan Clingan posted a double-double, but it was Denny Avdia leading the way once again for Portland as he posted 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. Portland will take on the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota tomorrow at 5 p.m. Lastly, Detroit Pistons star Cade Cunningham will be sidelined for an extended period of time as he has been diagnosed with a collapsed lung. The Pistons have announced this morning that Cunningham has a left lung pneumothorax and he will be reevaluated in 2 weeks, meaning he will miss at least 8 games. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Live from A&A Casino Resort in Richfield.
Gonzaga! The slipper still fits! They win it!
This is a Fan Madness edition of the Fan Happy Hour with Luke Anderson. Fan Madness is brought to you by A&A Casino Resort, Window Nation, George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law, Cricket Wireless, and video only. The Fan Happy Hour on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM. The Fan.
Hey, happy madness, all you beautiful radio listeners. Thank you for dropping in on our little happy hour. We appreciate you listening. If you're watching on YouTube, here's a hand gesture just for you guys. If you're listening on the radio, 105.1 The Fan, 1080 AM, 105.1thefan.com, Odyssey.com, the Odyssey app, or if you just ask your smart speaker to tap me into Tom's Watch Bar, use the Fan text line, 503-2GO-FAN. That's 503-864-6326. Use it. Use it to chat. Use it to chat. Use the text. Use it to share your thoughts, ask questions, solicit advice, whimper about your brackets, or answer me this, dear listeners. At any point today, you're going to make it down to A. That's the big question. Casey Smith, after you're done with your producing duties, are you going to head down here and hang out with Prime Time and the rest of the shows out here at Tom's Watch Bar, my friend?
I might hang out with Stephen Vaughn in the booth for a bit.
Yeah?
Keep him some company, but yeah, I might stop by.
Help him spot all the games and see what's going on around Madness so he can keep up with it. Because when you get into those late games, it's going to be a lot of action going on at the same time. You kind of need a spotter out here, man. I'm trying to watch all of these different screens. I can see that there are 9 seconds left in the Duke-Siena game. The Blue Devils are up 70-65 on whatever the mascot is for Siena. So it looks like your team will hang on. How far do you have Duke going in this, Casey?
I have them going to the Elite Eight, and I believe losing to St. John's.
All right.
I could be reading that wrong, but
I think I have St. John's losing in the first round of Northern Iowa. So we'll see what happens in this tournament. Whatever happens, you know that there's going to be some upsets. We already had one. High Point already got their victory. Did we decide where High Point was? Are they in North Carolina?
Yes, they are in North Carolina.
See, look at that. Look at that memory. We talked about it 2 days ago, and I remembered. This is one of those tournaments, one of those sporting events where your memory fades real quick. If you had to ask somebody to name the Final Four for last year, I know I couldn't do it. Could you name the Final Four from 2025, Casey?
Florida, Houston, and then don't know the other two.
That's as far as I can get to. I know Florida won it. I know Houston was a runner-up because I put Houston as my runner-up this year. I figured back-to-back like Butler did all those years ago, coming a game short. I don't know if Gonzaga's ever gone back-to-back in losses in the final. But this feels like one of those years, and that, you know, nobody's picking them to win it. Feels like the years where they do the best. So I've got them as far as the Elite Eight before they lose to Arizona. But it should certainly be a fun one. Speaking of tournaments that were a ton of fun, I know, Casey, that you had some audio that you thought we needed to listen to from the manager of the runner-up in the World Baseball Classic, Mark DeRosa. Do you have that ready to go?
Second place.
Yeah.
2029, 2030, you get the call again. What's your answer and why?
Oh, it would be 100% yes to do it again. I'd love to get over the finish line. Not only is it 2 times, but 3-2 both times. Why? If you saw how hurting the guys were in that locker room right now, you'd know why. I mean, for some reason, this WBC has become a tidal wave of emotion for a lot of guys. You get them in the room, representing their country, coming together for 2.5 weeks. The buy-in, it's infectious in there. So, yeah, special group to be a part of. Proud of the way we represented USA. Soft spot in my place for Venezuela as well. I played there in winter ball. Know a lot of guys from there, and Omar's a great man, the manager over there. So, yeah, just a great game.
Yeah, so there's Mark DeRosa saying that he'd love to come back. I can't imagine that he would get the invite. I always wonder if we give enough credit to baseball managers and what they have to do, but I can't imagine that it's easy to have a team for 2 weeks. I mean, right now we've got spring training going on. You've been pitchers and catchers have reported since the end of February, and you've got teams out there trying to figure out who's going to be on the roster for opening day. As you go on, you're having call-ups, you have injuries, you have to figure out what you're going to do with your rotation, how you're going to get your bullpen set up, and you play 162 games, and it comes down to either analytics or gut or a combination of both. And do I have this guy face this guy in this moment? It's such a long game to figure out. Mark DeRosa did himself no favors coming out of pool play, having no idea what the elimination scenario was. I think that disqualifies him automatically from being invited back. But there was something in the middle of that comment where he dropped a, for some reason, these guys are emotionally invested in the tournament. For some reason, look at what's going on around you. Every country that plays in this, sans U.S., is wearing their hearts on their sleeves when they're playing this game. The joy, the sorrow, the tears, the emotion is so visceral watching the rest of the teams. The USA, the only one that's not. Don't pretend for a second that this doesn't mean a ton to those guys. Watch Kyle Schwarber and Mason Miller and all the guys that pulled off their silver medals after losing. We talked about this with Patrick Harris in the first hour. This was the best showing for the WBC, not just from the competition level, but from the fan bases. The production felt like it was top notch. I think it was as good a baseball tournament outside of the Major League postseason that they've ever had. And this is a sport that is trying to go global, and you can see where it's made the connections already in Latin America, obviously, in Asia, obviously. With Italy having a run and adding Europe to that list, I think we're looking pretty good for this sport to continue to grow, and I thought it was fantastic. Casey, is there any chance that Mark DeRosa would be invited back to manage this tournament in the next go-round?
I don't think so.
It's got to be a zero. Now, here's the next question. Is there any chance that anybody gets a call, says, no, I have no managerial experience whatsoever? I'm not going to talk him out from letting me be on the staff somehow. To be part of this ride seems obvious. So the question would be is what do you do about managing this tournament? Because pulling somebody away from their team during spring training would be almost a non-starter, you would think. So what do you do? Do you just go out and put Derek Jeter out there and somebody that can be a flag bearer for it? We saw Pujols, and we've seen all these guys that were former players out there for their countries representing.
I think that's what you have to do. I think you have to go get a Buster Posey. You look around all of the other managers, they're catchers. They're catchers who have
just
played
go find a former catcher.
Had, elite careers behind the dish. Francisco Cervelli, Jorge Posada, again, Yadi Molina. Go get Buster Posey, see if he wants to coach, see if he wants to work with pitchers on calling balls and strikes. Do that. Because
I think I'm with you. I mean, I mentioned Jeter. I mean, he had some, strong comments about, what Aaron Judge said comparing the World Baseball Classic to the World Series, and
you don't
obviously
need that ego in that locker room, though.
Yeah, but I don't think you don't need that ego, and that's one of those things where if you put somebody that is a figurehead in that role, you can bring along whoever you want as the smartest baseball guys. I like the idea of it being a figurehead simply because it takes some of the attention off of the players, and they can go out there and play loose and have somebody that it can be in it every day. And it doesn't have to be Derek Jeter. I'm not saying that he's the most likable guy, but find somebody that is, fairly recently retired, that everybody remembers playing, that can get the U.S. fans, that can be out there and just do that. Mark DeRosa is definitely not the guy. Like I said, you're not going to get any managers that are available. Maybe somebody that recently retired as a manager and do that, but somebody get a name. I want a name there that everybody goes, that is my guy, and I can get behind. Buster Posey is a great pull. You're right, there's so many managers that are out there. But look no further than the Seattle Mariners. They pulled their old catcher with no managerial experience to replace Scott Service, and he finished out the 2024 season, gets in there in 2025, and they're a breath away from going to the World Series. I don't know that it's the most challenging job that you're going to have to manage a baseball roster for 2 weeks. I mean, if you power rank it, I think we give a ton of credit to NFL head coaches, as we should. who's next in that? We give almost no credit to baseball managers. We crush them if they made the wrong decision because of analytics, and we crush them just as hard if they make it say they're going on their gut. And then NBA coaches, I think we just assume that anybody can do that job as well, yes?
100%. I think soccer coaches probably have, I guess, probably that same role of hockey coaches, where anyone can feel like they can step in and do that job, and so that there's a lot of pressure in that position in itself. NFL, I mean, when you're able to be the leader in a room full of egos, again, like you said 70 people on a roster if you include the practice squad.
Whew, yeah.
You can be a leader of 70 dudes. Like, these are elite athletes across the board. That's special.
What's happening right now in the NFL that I think is interesting, too, is if you look at it, how many guys that never played are getting opportunities and getting them early, guys that go, I mean, you take your Sean McVays and your Kyle Shanahans and guys that do or do not have, the coaching tree in their family. But Mike Macdonald, the first guy ever to call defense and win a Super Bowl, it's a testament to the trees that they travel through. I mean, starting as a GA with Kirby Smart at Georgia, coaching with both Harbaughs, both with the Ravens and at Michigan, and going through that, it is definitely a learned profession, and it's pretty fun to watch the way that these guys handle themselves. But I can't say that I feel the same way. I think you're right with baseball managers. Grab a little catcher. Throw them out there. We're going to be fine. For the NBA, I don't know how we decide to pick guys, but I know that the Portland Trail Blazers vetted Chauncey Billups, and we knew nothing was wrong with him until the FBI pulled him off in cuffs. So I have no idea how that works. But
my issue with DeRosa is, I don't know if you heard the comment of saying, oh, you have to, all the guys are super emotional in the locker room. We didn't see any of this emotion the entire tournament.
Yeah,
well, you're telling me that there's emotion? I want to see the emotion.
I'm with you. Get a former player out there, and I think you'll see more emotion. I am with you. Right now, let's try to do some In Case You Missed It. In case you missed it, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jared McCain led the Thunder to a 121-92 blowout over the Nets last night, securing their second 10-game win streak of the year. Brooklyn managed just 24 points in the first half, the NBA's lowest half total since 2016. But you got to give credit to the Nets. They played a strong second half. They actually outscored OKC in the fourth quarter after the Thunder pulled their starters, then their bench, then finished the game with 2 assistant coaches, a random guy from concession, and 3 Make-A-Wish kids. So congratulations to the effort, I guess. In case you missed it, Hawks forward Jonathan Kuminga accidentally made a 75-foot three-pointer when a full-court pass to a teammate went straight into the hoop. The video of the game is actually pretty funny. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The Hawks beat the Mavericks 135-120 in Dallas. This is Atlanta's first road game since their unofficial Magic City tribute night. No word on how many people showed up supporting Dallas's most famous strip club, the Grassy Knoll. No? Come on. I like that one. In case you missed it, the Vikings have signed Carson Wentz to a 1-year deal to complete a crowded quarterback room that also features J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray. I believe they just said, hey, Browns, hold my beer. Okay, maybe their quarterback room isn't as bad as the Browns, but, it could be probably worse because right now there's some dumb kid in St. Paul with his tongue frozen to a flagpole that actually thinks his team has a chance to win with those guys. That's not a nice thing to do to the children. Hey, dummies, it's called Super Bowl or bust, not 3 bust to a Super Bowl. Kyler Murray was a number 1 overall pick. Carson Wentz went number 2. J.J. McCarthy was a 10th overall pick. Every time a first-round bust gets signed, somewhere Brock Purdy is ordering a bottle of Cristal and a dozen oysters to take home. His wife is probably counting the days till the offseason ends so she can ice down her junk. Am I right? No? In other news, in case you missed it, Veterans quarterback Andy Dalton is being traded to the Panthers to back up Jalen Hurts for the Eagles for a 2027 7th-round pick. Don't worry, Jenna Purdy. Dalton was a second-round pick. This one will only require heavy petting. You're so stupid. And finally, in case you missed it, yes, the Browns have proposed to trade the NFL moved so that you can trade 5 years into the future with picks. All I need to say this is any idea that is proposed to the Browns is a bad idea. Incredibly difficult to predict 1 year into the future, let alone 2. Anything beyond that is absolutely impossible. The one thing that I can predict is that in 5 years, nobody that works currently in the Browns front office will still have their jobs. That's one thing. The Browns' idea is only supported so far by one team, the Rams, who haven't used a draft pick since 2008. This is like the bully backing up the nerds who had the idea for everyone to bring more lunch money to school. Big thanks to our studio audience and the huge crowd that has gathered around for these jokes here at A. At 2:30, we're going to try to do an early game recap. But right now, we're going to do a modified daily buzz and catch you up on some local sports stories. Stick with us. You're listening to the Fan Happy Hour on 105.1, The Fan, live from A.
It's time for the madness.
All right, we're going to start with the Seattle Mariners. Actually, it's a former Seattle Mariner. Everybody that thinks the Mariners were crazy for getting rid of Harry Ford, well, he is not going to be on the Nationals opening day roster. So he was part of the Jose Ferrer trade, so adding another left-handed arm to the bullpen for the Mariners seems to be a good move to send off a catcher who, although very, very athletic and somebody that people were very excited about, well, he's not ready at just 23 years old. He still obviously has a big chance and a bright future ahead of him, potential. But right now, the trade seems to be a win for the Seattle Mariners.
The Buzz.
J.P. Crawford, we talked about him a little bit yesterday. So he went to Texas to see Dr. Keith Meister for a potential lingering issue with his shoulder. It sounds like the only thing that happened while he was out there was a cortisone shot. So he should be ready to go from a health standpoint for opening day. So, J.P. Crawford didn't have a great season last year, but he was right around +3 WAR guy. So you're starting shortstop, you would assume, for this season. But here's the trouble. He's only had, I think, 18 plate appearances so far in spring training. So however long it takes for him to get over this little shoulder issue that he has and the cortisone shot to take hold, you wonder if he'll be ready to go for opening day. It does start to feel like it's probably something that he'll get over fairly quickly. So I think if we're waiting for Colt Emerson to make the team, he's going to need to have a hell of a week to wrap up spring training to be on the opening day roster. It'll probably be Leo Rivas if J.P. Crawford not ready to go.
The Buzz.
The other injury that you have in Mariners camp is Bryce Miller. He's been dealing with an oblique injury and has not been able to throw full speed so far in camp. That leads you to believe that you're probably going to have somebody else in the rotation, at least for the first few weeks. Bryce Miller not expected to be your opening day starter by any stretch, but certainly in your five-man rotation. Emerson Hancock has been actually having a pretty nice spring. He's added a new pitch. The sweeper seems to be working. There's getting great reviews on that, but it'll be interesting to see what they do there as well.
The Buzz.
Casey, how you feeling about those Portland Trail Blazers? What a nice win over a team that gave up on their season 2 months ago. Really nice to see Denny Advia and Donovan Clingan go out and have nice games against a bunch of backup players for the Pacers, yeah?
It's always a good win.
Every win is a good win. Here's the reason I bring it up, though. This puts them right there potentially to host one of the play-in games. The Blazers inching their way closer. So we've talked about this not a ton recently, but right after the All-Star break, the Blazers have one of the easiest schedules down the stretch. I haven't looked too far ahead and started making predictions because, well, it's the Blazers, and I don't really care that much. But for them to host a play-in game certainly could be something that makes it a little more fun for fans that have supported this team all year. Finally having an all-star that wasn't named Damian Lillard in Denny Advia does make things a little more hopeful for the future. So at least we've got that going for us here in Rip City.
The Buzz.
Oh, Jerkson Profar, I'm sorry your appeal didn't go very well. The 162-game PED suspension will stand. So if you're a Braves fan that hoping your $15 million acquisition was going to go out and do something, not so much. Elsewhere in baseball news, Barry Bonds is going to join the broadcast for Netflix. Casey, did you realize that the opening night game between the New York Yankees at the San Francisco Giants will be on Netflix?
I did.
Yeah, so Barry Bonds has been queued up. I don't think that he's been in Oracle Park since he stopped playing, so it'll be interesting to have him back, see what the fans' reception is, see how he is as an analyst. But that's a nice thing about spreading guys across every different platform is you get different guys that are going to be analysts, and you're going to see some new faces in new places. The terrible thing about spreading baseball broadcasts across all of these different things means you have to get different guys to do the broadcasts, and you're going to get guys spread out all over the place. So whether or not it ends up being something good or something kind of exhausting is to be determined.
The Buzz.
One final baseball story. Trey Yesavich, your postseason hero and rookie phenom last year for the Blue Jays, sounds like he's going to start the Major League Baseball season on the IL. He's having shoulder issues. Trey Yesavich is an interesting guy. I mean, he went out and absolutely lit things up. He struck out 39 batters just in the postseason last year, 12 Ks against the Dodgers in Game 5. He went 3-1 with a 3.58 ERA in the postseason. He was great. But one of the conversations around him was he has an interesting arm angle. Makes him tough to hit. Also makes it a little worrisome when you're trying to project his health. So anytime somebody throws out one of those weird arm slots, it's a little good and a little bit bad.
Just testing out that UCL.
Ooh, I'll tell you what, it's interesting. So we'll see what happens with the phenom for the Blue Jays.
The Buzz.
Slight delay. That's Casey pushing the buttons back home. He doesn't get to hang out with us at the casino, poor kid. The Detroit Pistons MVP candidate, Cade Cunningham, I'm sorry, collapsed lung going after a loose ball? What? Anytime I see collapsed lung or anything related to an organ in professional sports, I always assume it's the worst. Casey, are you a medical doctor? Can you tell me how bad this is? It says collapsed lung, and then it says 2 weeks in the report. I don't know how those two things equate, but he's a professional athlete, so I'll trust the judgment.
Is everyone that I'm betting on and voting for this year going to collapse a lung?
Well,
you start with TJ Watt, and now you're hitting me with my boy?
Listen, they could also rupture a spleen or have an appendix burst or something else. But
Marvin Harrison. Yep, there we go.
See, listen, other things can happen that deal with your organs. As long as their hearts don't stop, I think we're probably okay. So the Pistons just hoping to have him back and in full health before you go into the postseason. They're currently sitting in the first spot in the East, so I don't think they're too concerned of missing out on anything other than maybe the number 1 overall seed. But this will be a good little test run. I always think that sometimes these things can be a good thing. You've got a superstar in Cade Cunningham. Fantastic. What's the rest of the roster going to do if he's not there? Because that's what you're going to need is other guys to step up if you're going to make a long postseason run. The NBA is full of historical documentation of that.
The Buzz.
How we doing on time here? Let's burn through these last few ones. The Warriors are cautiously optimistic that Steph Curry will be back before the end of the season. Having that guy will make a big difference. That's one of those teams fighting for positioning in the play-in with the Blazers. Kevin Durant, after playing the Lakers last night, says he thinks that LeBron could go another 4 or 5 years. I think I'm well documented saying that I am in for that. Not a bad night for LeBron last night. 13 of 14 shooting, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, and a steal. A nice little 30-point outing that his head coach, J.J. Redick, said, oh, do it. Apparently, J.J. Redick was having some inadequacy issues after watching that game. Well, we're on LeBron. He says he's out. He's out on part ownership of a new expansion franchise going to Las Vegas. He said he was all in as recently as 2022, but now apparently he's not in. So let's read the tea leaves. He doesn't want a part of an ownership in 2028. Why? Kevin Durant says he can keep playing. J.J. Redick seems to think that he is less of a man than LeBron James. Does that mean we're going to get another handful of years? Sign me up. I'm all in for that. This show, I think, is all in for Sixth Man of the Year LeBron James in 2032, maybe more than anybody. Luka Doncic last night was caught on camera talking trash in the middle of plays to the crowd. I told you a couple days ago, I think I'm going to root for the Lakers if they get into this tournament. I kind of think I'm all in now. And finally, the Milwaukee Bucks are encouraging Giannis Antetokounmpo to shut it down. Giannis is saying he doesn't want to. Can you guys please just get a divorce and stop fighting? I don't want to listen to it anymore. Daddy, I love you. Mommy, I love you. Just stop fighting. Please. All right, let's walk over to George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, see what we missed.
This SportsCenter update is brought to you by Mountaintop Metal Roofing. No maintenance, energy efficient, fire resistant, and a lifetime warranty. Do it once, do it right. Visit mountaintopmetalroofing.com.
Real quick, Mountaintop Metal Roofing hanging out with us at A&A right now. Big shout out to those guys. Thanks for sponsoring our SportsCenter update. They can hear me.
All right. Well, I got a little bit of March Madness trivia for you, Luke.
Ooh!
Siena was the 16 seed. They just narrowly got defeated by the Duke Blue Devils.
Ooh.
But can you name to me the last time a 16 seed beat a number 1 seed?
I want to say it was Virginia losing. Was it UNBC or somebody like that? Is that even
Right
close?
on the money.
Oh, look at me!
University of Baltimore, of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Yes,
The Retrievers
Yes!
defeated Virginia by
There
20
you go.
points.
Is that the only one that we've had?
They are the first and only
There you go.
16 seed
Yeah.
to beat a number 1 seed.
When
on
you
the
said
men's side.
trivia, I thought there was a 0% chance that I would know what it is. I don't know where that even came from. But hey, look at me being proud of myself.
Part of me thinks that you have the tab open on
I
your
do not.
computer.
I promise you I don't. I could not have told you they were the Retrievers, and I could not have told you what UMBC stood for, and I think I said UNBC, so I was even a little off. I will admit to that, but I was close.
Still nailed it.
I'll take it.
For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of Dirt and Spray. Weekday morning 6 to 10 a.m.
All right, kids, we're not doing picks today. We did them yesterday. We got brackets. We're going to see how busted they are. And if you've been picking along with us all year, you should really be embarrassed of yourself. You let me win last week's pick'em. It was mostly World Baseball Classic and the NBA. I cannot tell you how I ended up winning. I had no formula. But hey, I finally did it, so I can pat myself on the back. What you should do if you're listening and you're feeling left out is get down to A. We are sitting just outside of Tom's Watch Bar. We've got the big screens up. Only 2 games going on right now. They're both on halftime breaks, so we can get you all caught up on everything now. But before we do that, I want to thank all of the sponsors that we have for this. Can't do it without A. Window Nation, George McCoy at Warren Allen, Attorneys at Law, Cricket Wireless, and Video Only. We're going to be here for 2 hours tomorrow as well. You've got primetime coming up next, and if you want to come down and join the groupie pool for primetime, you should probably get here pretty quickly because it's starting to get pretty full. So tomorrow is going to be a fun day, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. You'll have Dirt and Sprague, the firm of Harris and Meringue, myself, and Primetime all out here. So if you can't make it today, please swing by tomorrow. Casey, have you been keeping an eye on all the scores and getting sound for me like I hoped you would?
I've got a few of them for you.
Fantastic. So let me catch you up on everything that's going on right now. Like I said, just 2 games live. So North Dakota State, Michigan State did kick back into action. So there are 18 and a half minutes left in the second. North Dakota State is trailing Michigan State 27-47. I am perfectly fine with that. And Arkansas has a 54-39 lead over Hawaii. Which other one's underway?
I've got High Point and TCU.
High Point and TCU. Those are your big upsets you've got. So, or those are the losses you have.
No, those are the audio clips I got for you.
Oh, perfect. All right, so we've got results from earlier. So Vanderbilt beat McNeese 78-68. Duke was a little scared playing against Siena. That was a 71-65 win for Duke, but they trailed most of the game. Nebraska got their first ever tournament win. They won 20 straight games to start the season, and I really wanted to pick Troy to beat them, but I couldn't talk myself into do it. Congratulations to the Cornhuskers for getting their first victory ever. They're not the only ones that got their first victory. Said you got High Point for me, Casey?
Got the rebound on the outlet to Johnston, and his first 2-pointer of the year gives High Point the lead. Timeout.
Was that it?
That was the final basket in the High Point game.
The final basket. You need to go and watch this if you have not seen the final little 30-second stretch of this. It went back and forth. I don't know the kid's name for High Point, but I'm taking Danny Meringue at his word that was the guy's first 2-point basket of the season. He only shot threes all year, but he gets a breakaway layup when he gets a pass thrown out ahead of him and gets the layup. They take the 1-point lead and stopped Wisconsin from scoring with 10 seconds left in that game, which was fantastic. Which was the other one that you had?
TCU over Ohio State.
The very first game of the day. That's what I thought that you said. The other game before we get to that one, Louisville gets a victory over the 11 seed South Florida. That was 83-79. That was the only game that I have missed so far in my bracket. How's your bracket look, Casey?
I got one of them that's looking really tough and another one that's looking pretty good.
Oh, you and your pick one bracket for the purpose of these conversations. Everybody now knows that you have 2, but let's go theater of the mind. Pretend you have 1. Pick the one that you've got Houston winning. You're going head-to-head with me in that one, right?
Yep, that's the one we're going head-to-head.
Okay, that's the only one I care about for the rest of the time that we talk about this tournament over the air. Got it?
And that is the one that is hurting the most.
What games did you lose in that?
The ones I lost on that one, I believe I had Ohio State. So
okay.
I also had the South Florida upset over Louisville.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So you lost 2. How far did you have Ohio State and South Florida going?
they each lost in the next round. So still alive.
Okay. Oh, you've lost 2 single games. What really happens is when that domino effect kicks in and your brackets falls a long way. You said you had Duke going a long way. That one would have been a killer. But I doubt there's that many people that had Siena going a long way. What really kills you is people like me that have Kansas beating them in the Sweet 16. People that have them losing to St. John's and all that. So from there, let's go to the final game. Here's a little sound from TCU, Ohio State.
Edmonds works around it. Harding on a kick. Punch. He gets it inside. Edmonds for the lead. He's got it. The layup goes with 4.1. Wow. How about
The sounds of the tournament there for you. The sites are down here. If you have a chance to make it down to A-Lene, I mean, this is kind of a little bit of a lull because you've got only the 2 games in the second half right now. But between 3:50 and 4:35, you're going to have 4 more games tip off and then another night set. So you'll be able to catch everything with primetime if you can make it down here. It's going to be awesome. How are you feeling about the tournament and the start so far, Casey? Like, what's your feel with this one? Is your confidence waning at all from the first few games?
I'm just really excited for the underdogs right now because the fact that Duke was who I thought was going to win it all. I just didn't want to put my money on them.
Now, tell me right now, does Duke have a couple injuries? Because that's why I didn't have them going too far. I mean, Cam Boozer, I understand, is healthy, but 2 of their other key guys hurt. Am I completely blasphemous by saying that?
Not at all.
Okay. My one-day research has been pretty good. Every time I bring something up, I do it with a little hesitation when I was having conversations before the games started or before I got on air out here. Every time I say people are, that sounds about right. I should have more confidence in myself. I did, almost 2 hours of research before the show yesterday. I don't know why I don't have any more confidence in myself.
I'm just feeling like this is going to be one of the better storied marches because I think we're going to have a lot of underdog victories. And then, again, we have Miami of Ohio still in the first round. I'm excited for where they're going.
Well, they had quite the comeback against SMU. They were looking like they were going to be bounced in the play-in and then ended up eking that out. Undefeated in the regular season. They lost their first game of the conference tournament, and then they come back and eke out a victory. You feeling confident that they're going to make a little run?
I want them to win this next game. I don't think they're going to get past, obviously, the first round, but I think or the second round, but I think they're going to win one.
All right, well, here's my other question for you. So yesterday we went through the little exercise. We were trying to pick along as we went through my bracket yesterday. And I know I do most of the talking on the show, but hell, it's got my name on it. I get to do that. I said that I narrowed it down to 5 teams that all had a top 15 offense and defensive rating. And I said those 5 teams could win the whole thing. Houston, Michigan, Arizona, Duke, and there was one more. Houston?
Florida.
Those were the 5 teams. Do you think that we could expand that? How many teams do you think have a realistic chance of winning this tournament?
Of those 5 teams?
No, of just in the entire tournament. If somebody else can sneak in. I have UConn in my Final Four. Could they sneak in and win the whole thing? Gonzaga, I mentioned as a 3 seed. I think that they always get a lot of love from when they can be a 1 seed and they go in there and they always disappoint. When you overlook them, it seems like that's when they play at their best. When you don't see Gonzaga coming over the years, that's when they've been at their best. Is there another team or 2 or 3 that you think can actually win this tournament?
I do think the Johnnies could win it all. St. John's.
Okay. Rick Pitino.
Also Kansas. I don't know why people keep writing off Kansas. Probably because they just have few games here and there where they lose for some reason. But if Darren Peterson can turn it on, I mean, he's the most unguardable player in the NCAA.
Here's a challenge that I have back at you. Look at this again. My 2-hour research was rock solid. Darren Peterson, when he was in the lineup, the team was 12-7. When he was out of the lineup, Kansas was 10-2. So maybe he's unguardable, but I don't think he makes the team better. That's where it gets challenging. I think he can get a couple good games out of that, but you got to win quite a few. So I've got Kansas beating Duke. I feel okay with that. I suppose if they can make it click, you've got something. Now, I didn't go and evaluate all those games. I'm taking all this stuff as I get it. But that is a fact that I pulled. So that's why I don't have them going much further than the Elite Eight.
I wish you would have said that fact yesterday.
My friend, it is March Madness. It is fantastic. 2 days down here at A&A. Come and hang out with us. We need to do one more for the road. We do it next. You're listening to Happy Hour on 105.1 and the Fan Sports Network.
The new home of the Luke Anderson.
Oh, man, it's getting exciting down here. All the lady groupies are here as Souk walks in. It's pandemonium. I don't know if more people are here to watch us talk sports or to watch this basketball tournament. It's hard to say. But if you haven't made plans to make it down to A. you should probably do so. I don't have a single bet in. I don't have a single ticket that I'm open for. I did fill out a bracket, but the energy down here is just awesome. The setup is great. If you want to put some money on the tournament, you want to put it on table games, come on down. It should be a good time. Casey, what are people saying on the fan text line and the YouTube chats?
I was wrong in saying that there was just one upset of a 16 seed over a 1 because I forgot that Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue back in 2023.
Okay, so that was the most recent one.
That was the most recent.
Okay, so yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah, Purdue. Congratulations to Purdue. Good job, guys. Anything that we need to address other than that?
I got someone that said, speak for yourself. They called me very well-spoken and bright.
Really? That's shocking. You are doing a wonderful job disguising your inabilities there. So
deception is key.
The question is, did anybody say that about me? I doubt it.
Nope.
Yeah, that seems fair. Well, good thing you're here to anchor this show for us, Casey, because without it, I would be aimless. Let's do one more for the room.
One more.
Well, kids, I have lost faith in the security at Australian airports. Not that I've ever been to an Australian airport. It is definitely a trip that I would like to take. But a little punk snuck his way past all the security and found his home and lived for a short while in one of the gift shops. Imagine going to the gift shop to grab something for your kids on your way back from Australia because the entire time you were down there, you didn't think of them one time. And you're like, oh, man, I got to get something for the kids. And you go to the rack of stuffed animals, and one of the animals' eyes follow you as you go across. There was a live possum living in the stuffed animal display at the Australian airport. How much would you freak out if that happened to you, Casey?
You'd catch me running out of the store, down the block, leave the keys probably just on the hood of the car. I'd be gone.
Yeah, they have no idea how it got there, how long it was there. It was removed safely and released back to the wild. But, I mean, my first thought is this possum just hanging out like E.T. in there just ready to live a happy life with all his new buddies. Wonders why they're so quiet, but he's a possum. He doesn't really care. It would have been a pretty good one. So, yeah. Hey, I want to thank everybody that has stopped by and said hi while we're doing the show out here at A. If you get a chance to swing by, I'll probably hang out for a little bit longer after the show. Big thanks to Patrick Harris for sticking around for a couple segments early. Thank you to everybody listening on the radio. Of course, thank you, Casey Smith back at the home base, Josh, our engineer, setting everything up, and of course, thank you, Isaac Ropp. We're all done for now. Back here tomorrow at A. Make your plans to come out here and hang out outside of Tom's Watch Bar. Like I said, ton of fun. Whether you care about college basketball or not, it's a great time. We'll see you soon. We're done for now. Bye-bye.